Okay, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the 7th day.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I think there is some problem, Vivek, it looks like.
Now I corrected it.
Yeah, fine.
Some echo was there. So as usual, I will ask that if you have any question. Good evening, Rajesh. So have you all attempted this stakeholder management questions?
No, Vivek, just now I started. I'm in the middle of this.
Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's because the stakeholder management chapter we completed. So let's attempt these 15 questions. So this will be a good recap also what we did the last week, right? Make sense?
Yes,
So when you are done, just
yes.
type this in the chat box, or if you have any other question also, we will discuss at that time that also, right? Okay, so let's get started. You have, let's talk about question number 1. What about question number 1? B. Vikas? Hello Vikas, are you there?
Vivek, I think
I didn't get the
Vivek,
response from
add
Vikas.
one person.
I'm just wondering, he's there or not? Okay. So what about question number 1 actually? Okay. So basically, see what stage the stakeholders have maximum influence on project. See, stakeholders' influence is higher in the beginning and lower in the end. So earlier the stage is, higher the influence of the stakeholder. So initiation is even before planning. I will say the influence of the stakeholder will be even more in initiation than planning. Basically, the things are not materialized. The things are still not very firm in the initiation. The things can be changed because there is no cost like has been spent so much on that. Therefore, the things can be changed easily. But as we move ahead, go into the planning, produce more things, crystallize more ideas in that, the influences start coming down. As we move into execution, things have been developed. Now, as per the earlier specifications, if you go for change, the cost of the change increases. And if you make the changes, the time, etc., the total impact on the project is high. And therefore, the stakeholders' influence also come down. So limitation increases as the project increases. So if you say at what stage the maximum influence is, then I will say it is initiation. I will prefer initiation over planning. Make sense? What about question number 2? Question number 2. Question number 2. Okay, that's good. Question number 3. Great. Question number 4. All B. Okay. Basically, there are 3 things in a stakeholders thing. One is power, second is interest, and third is influence. So A is interest. So more you get impacted, more interested you are. More you can impact the project, more power you have. Second is power actually. C is again interest, and D is the influence. So how we define influence? We define influence as active engagement in the project or active involvement in the project. So influence very much come very close to the power, because when say influence, we normally talk about power, that person because have the power can influence the result of the project, but normally we say it is the impact he can do on the project. And when it comes to influence, we'll say more he engage with the project, higher the chances he will move the things as per his own thing. He can have better influence on the things which are going on the project. So in the stakeholder management, the influence is actually defined as active involvement or active engagement with the project.
Then it should be D, you mean to say?
So the answer is D. Dear Daddy. Answer is D. What about question number 5? All A. See what is written here is stakeholder register contain list of stakeholders, that their behavior assessment, their categorization and other critical information to manage them. Who should maintain stakeholder register? So no doubt project managers should. The same question I asked, why not D? What is the problem with D?
Because the project manager, he's responsible. So for all the critical information and managing the stakeholder. Selected team member, that he or she is not going to manage the stakeholder. So responsibility, most of the project lies with the project managers.
You're right. As such, the complete responsibility of the project is lying with the project manager. Doesn't mean that he has to do everything. What is the problem if we select one trustful team member and tell him to like maintain the stakeholder register? See, what is the problem in giving it to anyone in the project team? That because it contains some critical information about the assessment. Assessment is very private, right? The behavioral assessment and what is the strategy to deal with could be a private matter. If leaked to the stakeholder may create a problem. So that is a risk with opening it to any team members. But you can open it to the trusted team members, right? Which it says the selected team members. A is no doubt. A has to be there. But if suppose D is there, what is the problem in D? I think D is, my opinion, if you ask me, the D is more appropriate because see, project manager has a lot of things and normally he shared the responsibility with a lot of team members. And this could be a little sensitive. It could be like for the selected team members. Maybe there is some access control on that. Make sense?
This is a kind of like the behavior assessment, the categorization.
Yeah.
So these are the lot of very sensitive
information, right?
So that's the place I think. Yeah, that's true. We can have a senior person or trusted team member to have this kind of knowledge.
Can open this kind of knowledge to them. Yes.
Yeah, but still I feel as per I have understanding that A will be more appropriate.
Okay, you think it is because it's too sensitive, project manager should not allow anybody else to access
that
it?
Is my understanding.
Probably, but I think the project manager normally have lot of things. He has to make some trustful partners in his team with whom he can like share some critical information, and therefore what I feel that the D goes a little more near because you can have one very trustful person along with you or two, depending upon how the team is. Probably in a team you may not trust anyone. Is the answer. In general, what is the intent is that it's a sensitive information, should not be open to everyone, but can be opened with some people.
Well, I think in practical life, D is more relevant.
Well, lot of information, lot of data is with you, lot of work with you. So you normally share things with the team members, or the responsibilities. But this could be little sensitive. You can have only few.
I do agree. So if such kind of questions are there, so if suppose instead of selecting D, if I select A or if I select D, so what the probability of get this correct means getting the marks on this?
I will say you follow the simple
principle.
principles. I will say follow the simple principle.
Pardon?
that project manager does everything with the team. So team, and when the project team comes, project manager normally inclusive in that. Now start saying that is there a problem with the team? Then we start shrinking the scope of that. So here we say anyone in the team member could be a problem because stakeholder information is or assessment is a sensitive matter. So it should not be open to anyone. Then we look for the other answers. What is can we open it to the selected team members? Probably yes. Is there something in the stakeholder that only project manager should see it, nobody else should? If that comes out, then only we select project manager. See, we should widen our scope as long as there is no problem, and we start shrinking only if there is a problem or there is a concern. The principle is that project manager does everything with the team, but not everything can be done that way. So we go to the larger scope to the smaller scope in that case. See, we select project manager means this data is so sensitive that nobody else should access it. Something like you have a personal like appraisal discussion with your team members. So only team member and you should know. Then even selected team members may not be the appropriate answer, because this data is absolutely private between two people. Right?
Yeah.
So we need to go to think that how big the scope can be, and then start shrinking based on the concerns and based on the realities on the ground. And we should be smaller scope only if we see that if we go a little wider, it could be a problem. Let's go to the next one. Question number 6. Good is the right answer for that. What about question number 7? Okay, that's good. What about question number 8? Okay, my question to you is that what is a plan?
And at the same time, I was looking for B also.
Yeah, what is a plan actually?
How we are going to manage the stakeholder.
It's a list of actions.
Correct.
Any plan you take, plan is a list of actions. Plan is list of actions you're going to take in future. Bare understanding will
Actionable
not
item.
work. Mere understanding will not work.
Provide a clear actionable item plan to interact with stakeholder support.
Yes. If I write understanding, it's not a plan until unless I write actionable activities. I write list of actions which I perform in the future. That is a plan. So the C and D are very close. The only difference between that, the C only talks about understanding, while the D talk about list of actions.
So more clarity comes there, but definition as goes straight with understanding the stakeholder need and all is more catchy.
Yeah, that may not work actually. Understanding is fine, but we also know what to do.
Agree.
And basically plan is a list of actions. It's not understanding. Plan is not understanding.
Yeah.
If there is no list of actions, then it's not a plan. If actionables are not there, it's not a plan. Right? Let's go for question number 9. Question number 9. All C. That's good. Basically, to answer such questions, we just need to check. We need to. There are multiple things are given in every line. You have to identify one item which is definitely not like this stakeholder register is not required. So, like in the first option, create WBS does not require any stakeholder. Right? In the B, both of them. Quality plan qualities or plan time doesn't require a stakeholder. Go for D, you see that identify stakeholder, output is stakeholder register, not the input. And therefore only thing left is C. So if you look at the C, communication management, yes, to whom communicate, and risk management is something like you have to gather the information from the stakeholders. Right? Let's go to 10. Question number 9 is C. Question number 9 is C. Question number 10. In fact, this happens, you might have observed, this is quite common. We fail to identify one person, or we identify but don't do anything to involve him in the project or engage him in the project. All of a sudden he comes on a day and everything changed. Right? What about question number 12?
11, did we do 11?
Sorry, 11.
Yeah.
Not 12. This is a simple one, right? This is ethical question.
C is very effective in government projects.
Yeah, but that gift is under table, not over the table.
Entire discussion is going on equally.
A. In which phase of the project stakeholders are identified? See, the thing is that it's an ongoing process. The stakeholders may change, situation may change. You get some new things in your hand in the project, or the situation changes, people changes. Anybody can come as a new person in the project, and if we fail to identify him as a stakeholders, it may create a problem for us. So stakeholder identification is not a one-time process. In fact, when we are in monitoring and control, what is our job? To look around continuously if a new stakeholder has come in the project or not. Or the person who was not appearing anywhere all of a sudden is starting appearing in some of the communications. Maybe we have to identify him as a stakeholder. Probably tomorrow he may be a significant person. So stakeholders can be identified in any phase actually. So initiation and planning, it is the first time we identify stakeholders. But we are not limited to that. We do it continuously. It's a regular process. So the question is, in which phase of the project stakeholders are identified? On all phases. So these.
Yeah, theoretically,
Yeah.
we may do at the identify stakeholder that at the beginning and initiation, but person can come anytime.
Can't comment.
Let's agree. But influence, you mean to say this more at the beginning and less at the end of this.
Right.
So initiation have the more influence.
Right.
But identification can happen any phases.
Right. Identification can happen anytime. In fact, as soon as the person is, you have to identify, depend upon where you are.
So the D become more appropriate.
Yes. 13. See, in this also, if you look at this, what is the stakeholder engagement matrix? If you look at the chapter, you will see we draw one table where we talk about that the person is actually not supportive or is resistant, but we want to move him into supportive state. So the current state and the desire engagement level, the current engagement level and the desire, he is neutral, we want to take him to the this. So that is the engagement matrix where we identify each stakeholders, what is the current engagement level and where we want him, where is the current engagement level and where we want him. Did you remember that?
Yes, yes, it was where we wanted, actually we want to move from normal or not
Right.
interest to as per our use, as per our means, make him responsible, desired where we want.
Yeah, so we said is a like resistant, neutral,
Correct.
supportive, and they say he currently here, we want him here,
Supportive, yeah.
right? Something like that the matrix was. So that is what the stakeholder engagement matrix is. So C is the right answer
The
in that
moment
case.
this word comes, this figure has to come in mind.
Yes, yes. You have to attach the figure with the word.
Yeah, exactly.
Question number 14.
It looks
But salience model is one of them. We talk about two, grid model and the salience model. In grid model, we talk about three. One of them is not, was we never discussed.
interest, influence, power, interest. I think influence, impact, I will not remember exactly.
It is the interest influence which it was not there actually. This is not there. It's difficult to guess actually because it's very confusing. Its only thing is that it is more little memorizing stuff. Why?
Exactly,
Because there
because
is little
if you
logic in
see,
this. Why it is not?
no, if you remember the D, that's fine. Otherwise, ABC looks like we have done exercise for all of them.
Right, right. The, yeah, there is no specific logic. Why not interest influence? But it is not. There will be some logic. Maybe we have not gone into that depth actually in this, and it doesn't require that depth. But we can see that there are three models which is provided there. The interest influence is not there. What about 15? right? So risky stakeholder means engage him as early as possible and keep him engaged in the project. Involve him, his engagement matrix,
Can
move
we
into
text
the
the answer
supportive
anytime?
state.
Can we take C anytime? Is it? I think it's not favorable. It looks.
C is not a right approach as such. Is a resistance, like he's also
Yeah,
resistive, you are also resistive. It will not solve the problem actually. It will, you have to do it every time.
But sometimes some kind of negative person comes.
Yeah.
Isn't it say no to him?
You can say no to him, but the question, but answer is not that. You saying say no few times before you say yes. So
Yeah.
after some time, he will also judge that you say sometimes no before you say yes. So he will also do the same thing, isn't it? He's a smart fellow, right?
People are more smart. People are more smart. Everybody is
Yes.
like this.
So, but it doesn't solve the problem actually. How the problem will be solved? Why he's being changed? Because he's not taking interest in the project. If he takes interest in the project, he's knowing more about it.
No, B is
Things will
definitely.
reduce.
B is definitely appropriate answer, no doubt. But the only thing what I was looking, sometimes you have such kind of people, stakeholder who create a lot of issues, and they have there in mind something like that, or maybe not able to identify some the other.
In that case, what we need to do, we have to go with the data with the people and then say no. See, without supporting with the actual data, if you say no, it will be your judgment. And with the data, if you say no, you talk about only facts. The people cannot deny. Your judgment can be denied, but the facts cannot be denied.
Agree.
So that's the presenting data, presenting plan, detailed things, detailing out and then go. So more efforts we have to do at our end to tackle such kind of people. Okay, so let's go to the next chapter. Next chapter to us is risk management. So what is risk management? Risk management is basically managing uncertainties in the project. The uncertainties can impact the project positively or negatively both. So we say these risk management it's a managing the risk as well as opportunities, because opportunities are also uncertain in nature, and the principles we use for managing risk can also be used for managing opportunities. So sometimes we call them positive risk or negative risk, but risk, when you talk about, it's something which is negative, which negatively impact the initiative or the project. So idea here is to identify, analyze and prepare a response plan. The 6 process, 5 are in planning and 1 is in control. And basically, let me again tell you that control means doing 1 to 5 again and again on a regular basis. From 1 to 5, doing this on a regular basis, comparing with the actual data or the development which has happened in the project, the actual data, the variance, the kind of things happening in the project, and then reassessing the things, re-identifying the risk, again identifying, again analyzing, again refining our response plan or designing new response plan. So what is the risk actually? There are two things attached to it. It's an uncertainty, and there are two things in that. One is what is the probability of happening, and if it happens, how much it can impact the project, its impact. So probability and impact, there are two things in that. Therefore, there are 5 parameters which normally define a risk: the event, the probability, the amount at stake, the resultant impact, means probability into impact, and the risk tolerance, the tolerance of the stakeholders involved in the risk. So mainly if we put up a quadrant like this, we make a quadrant like this, talk about the how event will happen and uncertainty, then you will see that the risk could be something like or say how it will happen and what is the event. How it will happen and what is the event. So I will say it is known, 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 unknown, unknown, known, and unknown, unknown. Now, if the event is unknown, definitely how it will happen, it cannot be known. So this is kind of invalid. Only 3 things left. So known means I know the event and I know how it's going to occur. So these things are activities. I know what is the event and how it will happen. I know the activity, but I don't know how it will happen. You know, I know that client may bring some changes, but I don't know what kind of changes he can bring, how it's going to impact the project. These we call risk. And you say unknown means we don't know what is the event, we neither know how it will happen. And therefore we say it's 100% uncertain because we don't even know the risk. So either I can say unidentified risk. So when we talking about the contingency amount, management reserve, contingency reserve, basically we are talking about contingency reserve for this and management reserve for this, plus much bigger risk which are out of the scope of the project. So we talk about only those things where the event we have identified, but we don't know how exactly it will happen. You can make categories in your project or in your organization, what kind of, how you segregate these risks: internal, external, technical, non-technical, legal, management, resource. You can create as many categories as you want, but limit them so that it becomes more clear. Now risk is context sensitive and it's a perception. How many you agree that risk is a perception, it's not actually fact? If you agree, then why? If you disagree, then why?
It should not be always perception. If some fact is there, that is what we're talking about, the risk category, very first thing, which is known, but how we are going to deal this unknown. So if I take an example, which currently even I see here, for one of the our area, so technical resource has moved out. So they have put somebody that doesn't know that particular technology. So we know that there is a risk, but how they are going to manage that is unknown. So is it doesn't look always, it looks like perception.
Okay. Any other opinion?
That is my understanding. But it could be for the some other person who is at other end, for them maybe it's perception what I am carrying.
Okay. Any other opinion?
But my perspective, the way, the angle, what is clearly a risk.
Say it again.
But what I see from my perspective is clearly a risk.
Okay.
So I will document the way I see.
Yes. And you might have disagreement with your boss or the reports.
Correct. So I'll give my justification, I'll give my evidence and details why this I am thinking.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Any other opinion?
I think the part about own experience is very valid here, because it depends on when you are dealing with stakeholders and people. You know, certain kind of people have certain tendencies and certain problems. Like, for example, I know one of my team members has this habit of suddenly disappearing from work for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
This I know, right?
Okay. So it's a risk.
Yes, but that person is good, but he has the problem of taking an unwarranted leaves. So this is a risk. This I know. It's an identified risk.
Okay. So it's a perception or it is a reality?
It's a reality.
But so what do you think? Is a risk is a perception or is a reality?
It may be a perception, it may be a reality. It is a combination of both.
Okay. Ask your team member, does he also understand that it is a risk?
Exactly what that's I was saying. From the other's angle, it could be a perception manager or I am carrying. They'll say no, it is his perception. I have the valid problem issue, that's the reason I have taken the leave. But my manager or a senior unnecessarily carrying a perception that I will do this. So in that context, it will become a perception. But when I assess, I'll take it as a risk. I do agree. Maybe you can have somebody have the more valid example where both can be taken. But the way I see on my assessment, I'll take it based on fact. So I'll not go with the perception.
Okay. Now what we are seeing that risk is basically a perception. It is how you see it. It's not about something very crystal clear. Everybody see the same way. See, what is fact? Difference between fact and perception. Fact, everybody see the same way. If you are saying x is equal to 2, then everybody will tell x is equal to 2. Nobody will tell you x is equal to 3. But perception means you see this way, other person see in another way. Like in the same example Vikas has just mentioned, he sees it's a risk actually, and it is a significant risk which need to be, he should be care about, right? He should care about this risk. While if you look, if you ask the same team member who is normally absent, if you ask what is the risk, he may give you 10 justification that by him not being in 2 days in the office, it is not a great thing. He will still manage the things and there will be no problem. He will give explanations like that. So if you ask him, he may give you, yes, it is a risk, but it is not a great risk. I can still manage. But he, every time he is absent, you get annoyed, right? Because you think that, yeah, I don't know what is going to happen this and how it's going to impact the project. Another thing is that there are people who are risk averse. There are people who are risk neutral. And there are people who are risk taker. Right? Now there is some basic nature of the person. A risk taker is normally more aggressive. He sees a bigger risk as a small risk. A risk averser may see a smaller risk as a big risk. A risk neutral every time calculates a lot and see that if it is really averaging out or not and take a very calculative risk. Right? Now look at the scenario. If the boss is risk averser or the boss is a risk taker and the report is risk averser. If boss is risk taker and the report or the subordinate is risk averser, what will be the scenario?
Just opposite.
What will happen? If boss is risk taker and report is risk averser or subordinate is risk averser. What do you think the subordinate's opinion and what do you think about the boss opinion? What the boss normally have the understanding of such risk averse person?
He risk taker, he'll manage the work, whereas the risk averse, he always
Avoid.
Skeptical, or he always away from.
Try to avoid, right?
Try to avoid.
So what boss has the
for any changes at all? Yeah, this will have the more impact if the manager is risk averse and the team is risk taker. But in this case, when some manager says no, please go ahead, but he is so afraid of taking risk. No, I don't want to do this unless until this happens.
Right. So what boss will think about his report? His subordinate. He is procrastinating, right? Doesn't take decisions, doesn't go ahead. Because for boss it's a normal thing, while for the subordinate it's a big risk, right? And in such a
maybe the place, because the kind of knowledge or experience he is carrying, with that he can visualize that this risk can be taken, and he become a risk taker. At the same time, the team member or reportee may not have that kind of experience, but this may not be true all the time, but one of the
Yeah, if
examples.
that is the case, then what will the boss will think that this person doesn't take decision, doesn't go ahead. He procrastinate. He think a lot. It's a small thing. Why he is not going ahead? Right? Now, think the other way around. If the boss is risk aversion and the subordinate is risk taker. Every time,
They're more challenged.
that's more challenging, right?
Yeah, that's more challenging. That's when I was saying earlier.
Every time subordinate take a step, the boss sweat, right?
No. Please don't do this.
But don't do this. You will, what are you doing? He will give a,
You'll mess up. You'll take my job.
that's right. So that is where the perception comes. The risk is same, the item is same, but two people see it differently.
I agree.
And therefore they take steps very differently. Now, a risk averser can be converted into a risk taker or can change. Become risk taker, or risk taker can be risk averser. And this actually happen because of the context sensitiveness. We say sensitivity analysis. If the context changes, a person may become risk taker, or a risk averser can become risk taker, or risk taker can become risk averser. Do you follow Kaun Banega Crorepati? Do you all follow? Kaun Banega Crorepati?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, who will be millionaire? Wherever, like whatever you, it is the same thing, right? What do you think? What type of game it is?
It's a calculative risk.
It is
Calculative risk.
calculative risk. Okay. What about Amitabh, Vikas? What do you think? What type of game it is?
It is calculated risk, I agree. Good players do take calculated risk. Some people go unnecessary risk and lose the money.
Okay. Amitabh, you have different opinion?
Exactly this happens. If you big risk taker, so you will be a big loser also. There are some places like if you taken such kind of risk, which you know that this is a place where if I'll make or break, I'm in a very good position. If I take it back, maybe I'm talking about the in context of KBC, so that's much beneficial for them. But at the same time, if he goes ahead, so he will get a jackpot. But it's all what he see on what the way he visualized. So definitely it's a perception or the person he is sitting in front in his nature and behavior.
Actually, talking of calculative risk is when people know that they are, for example, they know the answers, they are kind of sure, and they don't have much to lose. That's okay. But sometimes people take wild guesses to make more money, to have jackpot. That is like gambling. That is not smart playing.
That is not smart. So everybody behave differently for the same question. If the same question is presented to 5 people, and look, suppose all 5 people don't know about not know the answer, but they will respond differently, right? Some may leave, some may try to attempt, right? Because they see it differently. Isn't it? Now, let me tell you about a scenario. What is context sensitiveness? Okay. suppose you are looking for a house, buying a house, right? And you are seeing that somehow you have seen some of the houses, and one is very like you liked a lot and you want to buy it, and that house actually costs 60 lakhs, let's say 60 lakhs. You know that you can arrange 10 lakhs, up to 10 lakhs, but beyond that it will be something like you have to either take a loan or arrange some from somewhere else, right? So you are looking for a house, you have already understood, you have already seen one house you really love, and that house actually costs 60 lakhs. You can arrange up to 10 lakhs. For rest of the things, either you have to go for loan or something, or you arrange from somewhere else. Now let's think of a scenario where you are at the hot seat in KBC. Okay, Kaun Banega Crorepati, you are sitting at the hot seat. You have already won 25,000 or 25 lakhs, I will say. 25 lakhs you have already won, and the question comes for 50 lakhs. Questions come for 50 lakhs. And you don't know the answer. Basically, you have to make a little guess, and it's not you. So the question is, what do you do? Will you attempt the question, or will you not?
Probably not, unless until I'm sure, because there are risks. If I attempt the question of 50 lakhs, even if I lose and is 25 not going to happen 5 lakhs or 2 lakhs, then I may try. Suppose 25, if I go to 20, that's fine. But if 25 goes to 4 lakh or 5 lakh, then it will be definitely, I'll say, better to quit instead of losing and taking the risk, unless until I'm at least 30-40% sure.
As per the rule, if you attempt the question, if you lose, you will lose 25 lakhs. If you win, you will get 50 lakhs. If you leave the game, you get 25 lakhs. That is the three options normally available. So what do?
I leave the game.
You leave the game, get the 25 lakhs, because you will do the same thing.
Yes.
Yes, I think in the current situation, leaving the game is better.
Okay. And what about Amitabh?
But if I'm not desperate for money, I can go for the gamble.
No, I said.
But if I need the.
Go ahead. I said, I give the scenario that you have to going to buy a house which cost 60 lakhs. 10 lakhs you can arrange, 50 lakhs you have to take a loan, or arrange some from somewhere. You are on the hot seat right now and attempting the question for 50 lakhs. 25 lakhs you have already won. That is the scenario.
Yeah, so I will walk away and take 25 lakhs. So that makes my total money with me
35
lakhs. 35
right.
lakhs. 35 lakhs.
Correct.
And then rest 25%, 20 lakhs I can arrange from loan or something.
Remaining is 25 lakhs, which will not be so difficult to pay back, right?
Yes.
Right. Amitabh, what do you think?
Yeah, I have the same opinion. I will leave the. I'll get the 25 lakhs.
You will leave the game as such.
Okay. Yeah, I'll leave the game.
Okay. Let's say you have won 10 lakhs and you are attempting the question for 25 lakhs. You still don't know you are not very sure about the answer. What do you do?
Here again, if I attempt the question 25 lakh I will lose 10 lakh.
Yes, the
straight?
answer is, and the conditions are same. You attempt the question,
Okay.
you answer incorrectly, you lose 10 lakhs. You answer correctly, you get 25 lakhs. If you leave the game, you get 10 lakhs.
In that case, I will go for it.
Yeah, I will try. Here, I'll take the risk.
Okay.
Because amount.
Yeah, I will try.
Yeah, amount here 10 lakhs is not filling that much my requirement. So my requirement, what target I am looking for the 60 lakhs. So I will take one step and see if I get 25 lakhs. If I get, fine. So but from 25 to 50, so because already we gain some 25 lakhs, their risk increases a lot.
Right.
Here level of risk even here is there, but I will ready to take that risk.
Okay. Now what about if you have already won 50 lakhs and you're going for 1 crore? You're still not sure about the answer. What do you do?
Definitely I'll quit.
Definitely quit.
Definitely quit.
I will quit definitely. Cannot afford to lose 50 lakhs at any cost, right?
At any cost. Will not take any risk.
Not take any risk. You see how your risk-taking capabilities are changing as things move ahead.
Agree.
This is
Very good
what
example.
KBC is all about.
Very good example.
KBC is not a quiz game. You know what happens? KBC very much resemble to whatever the life is. You know, as we move ahead in the life, we accumulate things with us. We have possessions. And when something uncertain come in front of us, which says that you may lose something which you have already accumulated. But there is a chances if you succeed in this, you will get much higher returns. You know, from 50 lakhs, 1 crore we are talking about. If I go to 1 crore, it will be 5 crore or 1 crore. The only difference is that in the life you may not lose everything, but you put something on stake and you may lose something, but maybe you gain something which is much higher value what you would lose. Like here in this case, 25 lakhs has much higher value than 10 lakhs. 50 lakhs is much higher value. So though if you think from a very plain simple, you didn't bring anything in the game. You're not going to lose anything even if you lose 25 lakhs. Because you never bring from your pocket as such. Is it?
Exactly, life is about this, but we never understand.
But
We come empty hand.
sorry?
Exactly, life is about this. We come empty hand, but we never realize this.
You never realize it. You move into the game without empty hand. You didn't bring anything. You are not going to lose anything, even if you lose 50 lakhs or 25 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatsoever. You will go the same way as you enter. But as soon as you won 25 lakhs, it becomes your possession. And now it is a matter of losing that money which you have already won. And it is not just that much. It is about realizing my dreams. 10 lakhs, winning 10 lakhs will take my one step ahead, one step towards my dream. Winning 25 lakhs take me much ahead to realize my dream. And therefore, I am little hesitant to go for 50 lakhs because 25 lakhs loan giving is not such a big deal. What about 50 lakhs? And if I won 50 lakhs, oh no chance I can go for. I absolutely become risk averse there immediately.
Correct.
While on the 10 lakh, I am a risk taker. Or I am towards risk taker.
stages, the way it progresses, so degree it changes.
So it is just not about a stake on the stake on the questions, or the stake, as the stake goes higher you lose hard, but it is also about how it is matching to your dreams which you have just, or the purpose you want to solve. Context sensitiveness comes, the sensitivity analysis comes when you attach this money with the something you want to achieve in the life, or something you have, some objective you have in mind. You probably find out that only few people go there because they have less courage, or only few people have more courage, but you will see most of the people who go for 1 crore or 5 crores, they don't have any such thing in their mind. They don't know what to do with 50 lakhs or 25 lakhs. While most of the people come with, actually the Amitabh Bachchan normally asks this question: what do you want actually from the money you will get? And more things you have attached with this money you are getting, as soon as that matches, you lose your risk-taking capability immediately. And therefore most of the people cannot go beyond 25 lakhs or so. So this is the real risk, and this is why this is a perception. Question is same, question is not different. You are not sure about the question. It is all about how I see it. What are the surroundings around? What purpose I want to solve? How much money will be sufficient for me? How much courage I have? And these are the things. Question is same. Question is immaterial in fact. The question, what the question is bringing is uncertainty about answering this. That's on. Rest of the thing is not related to the question altogether. Right? So that is how different people see it differently, and therefore risk is a complete perception, because it is uncertain thing. There is nothing certain about it. If something is certain, it's not a risk, and therefore everybody, based on his nature and based on the situation he is in, the person becomes risk taker, risk neutral, or risk averse, going beyond his natural instinct. Right? So this is what the risk is all about.
It looks like risk is totally perception.
It's a complete
based on all factors.
What are the factors around you? In its general circumstances, you may not take a risk. But if you know that if you don't take this risk, your job is on the stake. If you don't take risk, your job will go. You will take the risk, because that is a bigger risk than this.
Always,
right? We say, let's go ahead. We will see what will happen. Let's go ahead. We'll work it out.
Anyway, I am going to lose the job. If I don't do well, I'm going to lose the job. Let's try and lose it.
Right. And therefore, the people who have options normally do not succeed much. And people who do not have options, they succeed. Because there is nothing else to be done. Only this thing to be done, let's do it. Irrespective of how it is going to be worked out. And it normally worked out.
That's very true. That's a real fact, because the moment you taken the decision, this is a fact of life. So half of the thing is done, and it has. I have my personal experience. The moment you decided, okay, I'm in the verge of break, but let's try this and then go. And most of the time I have gone through.
You know, most of the time you will succeed actually, but still people don't want to go because there is no need to take risk. Like we stop at 25 lakhs. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we will manage 25 lakhs. But losing 25 lakhs means far away from the
dream and how you attached. How big is your dream and how you attached with this.
So as usual, risk is higher at the initial stage. As we move ahead, the risk goes down in the project. So as the timeline goes, the risk is higher at the initial stage and it comes down. Similarly, amount at stake is low in the beginning and it goes up as we move ahead in the project. Now, we normally call the, as I said, we also talk about that the strategy which are normally used for risk can also be used for opportunities. So therefore, we will handle here both the things. So we just discussed about it, what the few terms which normally make sense here. The risk appetite, that is the degree of uncertainty an entity is willing to take on. So how much risk you can take is your appetite. How much risk you ready to accept, that is also, that is a tolerance. So it's very close terms as such. The known risk, unknown risk, and the contingency. Contingency is normally is not a response plan, it's a fallback plan. Contingency is a fallback plan.
What is the difference between appetite and tolerance?
Okay. The appetite is that it is attached to a reward. So like you say you have a senior management and there is a, and you are doing a project. Now you should understand what is the tolerance of the senior management. So based on that you move only that much in the risk. As I said, your boss is high risk taker, you are low risk taker, could be a problem. Boss is low risk taker, you are high risk taker. If you do, you go with your instinct, the boss will be sweating in this room. So we need to understand that what is the risk capability, risk tolerance of the boss, and then move ahead with the with taking that much risk only. Okay, so suppressing your own instinct or own your temptation on that. On the other side, the risk appetite is that
Appetite means how much I can accept, on what degree of risk I can carry. That is appetite.
Correct. So it is mainly about me first of all, and how it is, what is the reward attached to it, a calculative thing, and how much I am okay to take that risk for this reward, for this particular reward. As I said, like 50 lakhs is a reward, 25 lakhs is in the stake. So when 10 lakhs was the stake, 25 lakhs was the reward, I decided to take. So my appetite is this only. My appetite is 10 lakh, up to 10 lakh I can go. When it comes to losing 25 lakhs, I don't bear, I just move ahead. I leave this.
Agree. So that is your appetite.
Right? So here when we say KBC example, it is more an appetite actually. So different people have different appetite, therefore they go to a different, only up to different levels. They don't attempt, they quit actually game. I'm talking about quitting the game. So when you quit the game, actually you have surpassed your appetite. Make sense? There are 6 processes. First 5 processes are in planning, where we mainly focus, because controlling is also about looking at how we have progressed and then continuously on a regular basis, periodically doing from 1 to 5. The first is plan risk management. So what is risk management? Plan risk management means preparing a risk management plan, and risk management plan is how we are going to do the risk on this project. So what does it mean? That means what are the tools and techniques we are going to use for identification of the risk? What is the methodology we are going to use to for the risk? What are the risk categories, etc.? What is the method we will use to analyze at a qualitative basis, on a quantitative basis? What are the various methods or tools we will use? In a contingency plan, how much contingency is there, and what like how much we can allocate to it. So basically, how we are going to do the risk management is what is risk management plan is all about. So understanding that what is the tolerance of the people or the stakeholders in the project. How much is what is the risk attitude of the organization or the project or the senior management? Doing a risk profiling of the project, assessing at higher level and a more detailed level of the project. So these are basically some analytical. We will discuss about them further. The risk management plan basically address the methodology, what methodology, who will do what, how much budget is there to manage the risk, what are the timings. Timing is specifically how frequently we will do risk management, or we will do the risk management process. How frequently? Once a month, once in quarter, once in fortnight, every week. What are the risk categories we have identified? Most of them are normally we inherit from organization, but we can make our own categories also. Definition of the risk probability and impact, we'll talk about that in the qualitative analysis, that what definitions normally works and what we can do. Risk probability and impact matrix, that's basically a tool, or we can decide that which tool we're going to use. So that is one of the tools. What is the tolerance of the stakeholders? When we report the risk, in what will be the format, and what are the different fields or the data which we need to share? How are we going to track the risk? How are we going to create a doing a trend analysis? How are we going to profile the risk of the project risk profiling? Once we have laid down our plan, how we are going to manage this is the time to execute it. The first thing is to identify risk. The first thing is to identify the risk. Now let me tell you, most of the projects that are failing on risk management, basically they are failing in identifying the risk. Most of the risk that impact project greatly, project team did not identify those risks. It was less on proper analysis and proper response plan. It was more on identification of the risk. So most of the project teams are normally not able to identify risks which greatly impact the project. So risk identification should be taken very seriously and should involve as many stakeholders as possible. So normally questions comes that who should involve in risk identification, and the answer is all the stakeholders, as many people as possible. Who will identify the risk? Project manager, project team, risk management team. Other stakeholders means marketing, sales, support, senior management. Any other person you think that he can contribute, he can give you some tips about the risk in your project, go and get the help. Other project managers mean the project manager other projects. They can also give you some ideas that what kind of risk they may be facing. We may also face in our project. The customer can give us, the subject matter experts can give us. We should involve as many people as possible in identification of the risk, because what a marketing person thinks, I cannot think. What a sales person thinks, I cannot think. What a sales support person thinks, I cannot think that way. Only those people can tell you what is the risk, and they will tell them from their perspective, and that's very important to look into. You see the list of inputs, because risk can be identified anywhere in the project. Almost every area is there as an input. Document. Now how we identify risk? By reviewing the documents, sometimes like contract, SOW. We gather the information from the various stakeholders. We make checklist. So we analyze checklist if there is a lacuna in there. Do assumption analysis. In all the documents we create, we normally document some assumptions. What are assumptions? Assumptions are something which we have considered true or which may or may not be true. So we have to identify, it's an uncertain thing. If that assumption proved wrong, what will happen? And we should be prepared for it. We should use some diagramming techniques like fishbone diagram and other things that may help us to analyze risk or identify risk basically. Do some SWOT analysis. I think most of you will be aware about that. The strength, weaknesses, opportunity and threat analysis of the project. A person expert in the similar area. And we create a risk register that contains the identified risk and the probable responses to the risk. When we identify risk, we also ask people, let us know the probable responses. Document review contract, legal documents, SOW and other documents. In fact, we can review all other documents also to identify something which may hit the project positively or negatively. Do some brainstorming, do some interviewing, call some experts together, subject matter expert together, call the project team, other stakeholders in a meeting and do brainstorming. If the people cannot come together, they are geographically scattered, use Delphi technique. Send them survey. A very simple survey is this. Please let us know top 3 risks from your point of view. Send a mail to marketing person, send a mail to salesperson, send a mail to a senior person, send a mail to the support function. Please let us know from your point of view that what is the greatest 3 risks you see in this project. You will be surprised to look at the risk. You can never think of them. And they could be very important. Because none of the checklist is exhaustive, there is a fair possibility we will find that we can have better, we can find some lacunas, we can find some areas which are not covered and which we can consider as one of the risks. Assumption analysis. Analyze all the assumptions in all the documents and see how much they can impact the project if they prove wrong. SWOT analysis. We normally do this SWOT analysis, something strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. These are risk and these are opportunities. All are uncertain, so we need to manage them all together. I hope probably you all will be doing some kind of SWOT analysis for a project or at least at the organization level. What we come out is the risk register, and risk register may contain what is the risk, in which category it falls, what is the risk trigger, what is the risk trigger, the symptoms, the something which can let you know that risk is about to materialize or risk is started materializing. We need to take action. Probability, what is the probability of happening it? How much impact it can cost to the project, which WBS item to it is attached, root cause, what is the root cause of this, many more other things also. The potential response, that can also be part of this. You say potential response, also part of risk register. This potential response can be further refined after analysis. Right? The next step is performing the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. So it is right now, it is almost 8:40, 8:48, almost 8:50 in my clock. I think let's take a break here. Is that fine? And we can continue with qualitative and quantitative analysis after the break.
Yes.
Is that okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. So let's resume at 9:20, right?
Yeah.
Means half an hour from now. Okay. So we'll resume at 9:20. So first step was to identify risk, and my opinion is that if you identified risk, your 50% job is done. This is the biggest thing. Identification of the risk, everything is after that. If you have not identified risk, rest of the process does not just take place for those risks, and therefore it may hit badly. So focus a lot on identifying the risk. Once it is identifying the risk, performing analysis is not that big a problem than actually the identification. So now once we have identified the risk, the next step to prioritize them. So qualitative analysis, the basic idea behind qualitative analysis is to rank them from 1 to 10, which is the most important risk, or which is the most impactful risk, and what is the least one. Which risk, if materialized, will impact the most the project, and which risk will not. And that's therefore it is here we will do the analysis at a little higher level. We do not get into the very deeper level. The quantitative risk come into picture, quantitative analysis come into picture when we take the higher ranking risk, the higher prioritized risk for further analysis. So first we prioritize the risk using qualitative analysis. High ranking risk or high prioritized risk, we will take them for the quantitative analysis, so that we can really figure it out how much amount is at the stake. There is a tool which is used here, is a risk probability impact probability impact matrix, and what we do is the analysis of the probability and impact of the risk. The data quality make a lot of difference, because better the data quality, better the risk analysis. We do the categorization, and another thing which come into picture is the urgency assessment. The risk may not be high priority, but if it is going to impact in near term, is priority get higher. So urgent risk, the urgency assessment, how urgently we have to respond on that. If that assessment is done, if it is near term, it is impacting in near term, we need to act on it now, even if it is not high priority or it is not so impactful. What we do, we update the project risk register. basically we update the risk register. Risk management is a process where in the first process, risk identification, we create risk register, and further on analysis and response, we just update the risk register. No new document get created. So what is the risk probability matrix and how the assessment is done? Give me a moment. Okay, so how we do the risk analysis is, first we take the probability in the terms of like high risk, low risk, very high, very low, or high impact, low impact. We do not talk about any data or any money on the stake as such. We just say high or low kind of thing. And what is the idea here is to identify, rank the risk and identify what risks are required to be for going for the quantitative analysis and what risk will remain in the watch list. So risks that do not go to quantitative analysis stay in watch list, so that we can continuously watch them and continuously assess them, and if their priorities goes high, their impact goes high, their probability increases, we take them for the quantitative analysis. Or if there is an urgency, we take them for the quantitative analysis. Now how the risk probability impact matrix actually works. We grade the probability and impact on either on ordinal scale or on cardinal scale. What is the ordinal scale? Very low, low, moderate, high, very high. What is cardinal scale? Instead of saying very low, we say 0.1%, or that is 10%. Moderate, maybe 30%. High, maybe 50%. Very high, or say very low 10%, low 30%, moderate 50%, high 70%, 90% is very high. So instead of giving very low or something, we give some numbers. It becomes easier to calculate. But these numbers have nothing to do with the real probability or real impact. Real probability and real money at stake. It is basically representing only very low, low, high, very high kind of thing. So either of this scale we can use. For example, like this is like this matrix. What we have done here is, we say probability either could be 20%, 40%, 60%, 80% or full. Similarly, impact, we also put some cardinal scale on that. It is 20%, 40%, 60%, 80% full. Now if you look, any risk we take, we see the scale of impact or the probability. We say any probability which has 40% of chances of happening and 60% impact, then it falls actually here. Sorry, no, not here, here. 40% probability is 40%, means it's a low risk and moderate impact. So this is low risk, moderate impact. This is moderate impact, moderate risk, moderate probability. This is high probability and moderate impact. This is high probability, high impact. So whatever the risk we have, we actually map them on this matrix. Now we define also define the greener part, amber part and red part. It is we have to define in where we have to define in risk management plan. In risk management plan, we say any risk more than 20% or more than 20% overall impact, P into I. This is what is this? This is P into I. If P into I is 20% or more, it will be amber, and if it is 40% or more or more than 40%, it is red. So by saying this, we make this as green, we make it as amber, we make it as red. Whatever we want, we can keep it. We can also say up to 20% it is red, up to 40% it is amber, up to then after it is red. Or we can also say it is up to 20% green, up to 50% it is amber, and after 50% it is red. In that case, this will become green and this will become green. This will become green basically. Similarly, in this will become amber and this will become amber, and rest will be red. Now that also we decide if the only red one will go for quantitative analysis or amber and red both will go for the quantitative. This is we have to define our things. We have to look at our tolerance. We have to look at the tolerance of our stakeholders. We have to see at our appetite and then decide only red one will go for quantitative analysis or amber and red both will go for quantitative analysis. The green will go into watch list. So that we need to decide. Basically, this gives an idea of if we have identified 10 risks, then I can say risk 5 is on the top, risk 3 is after that, risk 1 is up, risk 10 is after that, risk 1 is after that, risk 7 is this, risk 9 is this, risk 4 is this. So I start ranking and then say because these 3 are in red, I will take them for the quantitative analysis. And the remaining will be watch list. This will be watch list. We also use the quality of the data. So quality of data is very, very important because good assessment can only be done on the good quality data. If the data quality is not good, the assessment cannot be good. We assign the category to this. We also put a urgency assessment of that because the urgency may increase the risk ranking. So overall we said okay, the risk 4 is actually requires urgent action, then we put the risk 4 on the top or we increase its grade actually to the top. We take it to the top. So we update the probability, impact and P and I into risk register. We put the urgency assessment, we put the categorization, we mark the risk as in the watch list, right, and we get the risk ranking. The next step is quantitative analysis. The risks that are high ranking risks go for quantitative analysis. So what we use in the quantitative analysis, we use some modeling tools, some quantitative risk modeling techniques to analyze risk quantitatively. Here we try to figure out exact probability, our assessment on the probability and the amount at stake or resultant amount at the stake, P and I. That is the resultant amount at stake. It is not at a higher level. It is absolutely identifying if this risk materializes, how much money we are going to lose. Again, we will update the risk register. Let's look at this, what exactly happened. So there are many ways of when tools like interviewing techniques to identify this, having some distribution of the data based on the data analysis, do some sensitivity analysis, understanding which risk has the most impact by changing some variables in the project. But the most impactful, which is normally used, is the calculating the expected monetary value, EMV. So for any risk, there could be multiple possibilities. We figure it out, what are the various possibilities, and in those possibilities, under those possibilities, what is the total amount at stake, and if that amount is sufficient to take risk or not. Like this, we're talking about a risk which is an investment in the product, and we say there are 3 events possible: event 1, event 2, event 3. So 3 things possible on this. The event 1, the chances are 25% and we are going to lose 50,000. Event 2, the chances are 30%, we are going to gain 10,000. Event 3, there are 45% chances and we gain 30,000. And then we get P into I, that is minus 12,500, 3,000 for the second one, and for third event it is 13,500. The total result is 4,000. So the amount at stake on this risk is 4,000. So if this risk, the fair chances that we can gain 4,000 if we invest in the product. Now what could these events are? Like I say I invested the product. Now product completely fail. Event 1, it may fail. 25% chances of failure, we will lose our investment. We will lose our investment. So whatever we have invested, we will lose. Event 2, it is a moderate success. Moderate success or low demand in the market. The low demand, there are 30% chances. If there is low demand, we may not make much money, but expected to get 10,000. Now third is good success. The 45% chances we can gain 30,000 out of it, and therefore 13,500. The resultant is 4,000. My question to you is, should we invest or not? Please let me know, what do you think? Should we invest or not?
Yes.
Yes, we should invest, because total the EMV monetary value that is coming in positive 4,000.
Okay, you may be right, but my opinion is that this figure is not conclusive. I mean to say, if you are investing 10 lakhs rupees and the return is 10,000, which is positive, right? Will you invest?
Can you repeat the question?
I say if you are investing 10 lakhs and return is 10,000. So at the year end, you may get 10,000, 10 lakhs, 10,000. Will you invest? I mean to say, the figure is not conclusive. It only says 10,000, doesn't say how much investment. Let's say 50,000 is the investment. Out of 50,000, let's say just think of that. I'm considering that event 1 is fail, and we lose all the investments. Say we invested 50,000. Out of 50,000, we got 4,000. Is it worth investing or not? See, just positive figure doesn't mean we invest. It should make sense.
No.
Get
No.
significant returns so that it really justifies the efforts in that.
No.
So positive figure doesn't mean that we should invest. We should see that is it really significant return.
Okay.
So in that case, it is less than 10%, correct?
Yes.
So it could be good or it may not be good. It depends upon the circumstances. If the circumstance like that, even the 4,000 is good, we will go and invest. And in circumstance like that, we should get 10,000. That means say 4,000 investment. Let's talk about some other product which has a more yield in that, right?
Okay.
Similarly, we also use decision trees. We also use decision trees. Now, what decision trees we create? We calculate EMV at every node. We calculate EMV at every node, and then decide should we go ahead or not. So it's a binary tree. Not necessarily it should be binary. It could be any array tree as such. So in this, it is binary tree shown. Don't assume that it is always binary tree. So what is saying? It is a similar kind of question. You say, I decided to pursue a product, or I should pursue or not pursue. So there are two decisions. The main root question is, should I pursue or not pursue? If I pursue, there are two possibilities. The production could be successful, could be unsuccessful. If there is an unsuccessful, I may lose $200,000, $200,000, right? If it is and chances are 30%, there's 70% chances the production will be successful. But there is a further thing. Out of the 70% chances of production successful, it is low demand. 70% chances of low demand. In that case, we may lose $100,000. And 30% chances are of high demand. But if that happens, we're going to gain $550,000. The question here is, should we invest or not? How we calculate? We calculate on every node. This node has two options. Like in the previous one, this was having three options. Now if you see at this node, there are two options, this, and I calculate EMV on it. How I calculate? It is 30%. So how we calculate? P1 into I1 plus P2 into I2. So 0.3 into 550, right? How much is that? It will become 165K, right? 1000 plus 70 into 100,000. So it becomes minus 70K, right? It will become, so EMB become plus 90K, correct? 95K, sorry. Let me cut and put it. PMV is 95K plus figure. Now similarly we calculate the figure here. Can you tell me how much is that? Now with 70% chances of gaining 95K. Right, here is 95K. So 70% chances of gaining 95K and 30% chances of getting 200 or losing 200K. What should be the amount here? Can you tell me how much is that?
66.5K.
It is 66.5K here. It is here.
95K. Yeah, 66.5K.
And here?
Minus 60K.
It is 60K. So what is here now? This will be minus, correct?
Minus.
So it becomes
No, but this should be towards 600. This will be
6,500, right?
No, this will not be 60. This will be 600.
No, 60K. I put 60K. 60,000.
Okay, 0.3.
It is 200K, right? So it becomes 30% is 60.
Yeah, 60. Correct, 60K. Correct, 60K.
So if you plus them, create like calculate EMV, it will be 6,500, correct? Correct? Should we invest or not? Again the question, should we invest or not?
What is the investment amount here?
Yeah, correct. So we don't know. So we are not really sure we should invest or not. If 6,500 is a significant amount for this effort, we should invest, otherwise we should not. This is all about what is the real value of 6,500. But these are the methods you can calculate the actual amount on stake. So it's no more ranking or something up and down. It is identifying all the high ranking risk that are coming from qualitative analysis. We do the quantitative analysis and figure out the amount at stake we are going to lose or we are going to gain. Right? Though it says pursuing is better and profitable, but it's not necessary actually. It's definitely profitable, but profit should be significant, right? It justifies the effort.
I have to see how much I'm investing.
Yes, how much investing and how much efforts are there, both the things.
Correct.
How much risk is involved in that? Risk involvement is this actually. What are the other non-tangible risks also possible? Many times we use simulations. Simulations, the Monte Carlo is one of the popular name in that, and simulation means we trying to walk through the risk and seeing that what can happen. So really putting the real model in that. trying to identifying the alternatives and those building those alternatives, simulating those alternatives and then comparing them. So it is normally high effort, high investment technique, but it is much more accurate than anything else. So now you have ranking of, you have identified the risk, you have ranked the risk, high ranking risk, you have identified the amount at stake by doing quantitative analysis. It is time to plan the response. It is time to plan the response. Project risk response plan is also one of the part of the project management plan. Normally it should be there in the risk register only. So we say the strategy for negative risk means risk or threats, and strategy for positive means the opportunities. And we update the risk management or risk register. So what are the risks for managing negative risk or threats or risk really? What is avoid? There are four ways we can handle a risk. Avoid, transfer, mitigate, accept. What is avoid? Bypassing. Bypassing the route on which risk is existing or risk may occur. For example, I need a component for my product. I have outsourced it. I found a very reasonable a person on a very reasonable rate. But when we deliver the first lot, I found the quality is not that good. Now this could be a problem in my product. Now I identify the risk. What is I identify the quantity or the amount at stake, and I said I should do something. I decided to avoid. How I can avoid? I go for identifying another vendor who can provide higher quality items and procure from there. Now what happens? I have avoided that vendor who was giving inferior quality product and bypass this and go to the another vendor and purchase high quality goods. This way I have avoided that path on this, the risk per. But the negative thing, when I avoided the path, I also lose the advantage of that path. I lose this advantage. What was the advantage? Cost effectiveness. I have lost because the high quality product, the new vendor may charge me more. So when we avoid the path, we also lose the benefits of that path. What is transfer? What is transfer? Anybody can throw some light on this?
We have like from risk 1 to risk 2, or taking decision 1 was more risky than decision 2. So I'll avoid some of this and go to some other path.
Okay. Basically what I do, I pass this risk to somebody else.
The voice is breaking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes while doing a project, we make this build or buy decision.
Sorry?
We sometimes in a project we have to make the build or buy decision.
Yes, make or buy decision. Yes.
Yeah, make or buy decision.
Yeah.
So will that be categorized as a transfer of risk?
Right. If you decide to buy.
Yes.
If you decide to buy, it is a transfer. So outsourcing is a transfer. You may not be expert, but the person who has taken up that work may be expert. For you, it is a big risk. For him, it is a small risk.
Yeah.
So it is a all outsourcing are normally transfer of the risk. And the second way we can transfer the risk by taking the insurance. We can take an insurance and pass the risk to insurer. So if something goes wrong, insurance will pay to compensate the loss. Right? Both way we can do transfer. What is mitigate?
Accepted the risk and plan to work on this. So have the mitigate plan.
Okay. So in this, what actually mitigate? Mitigate means reducing the probability or consequences of the risk. I should take a step proactively so that either the probability get reduced or the consequences get reduced. So most of the time the mitigation plan is very common because most of the time we try to do this. So like in the case of this first one, I found that the quality of the person is of that product, the person who providing the part is not good. So what I did, I sat with the person, giving him some guidance and provided some support from my side, which requires some investment, but that will improve the quality of the part. So I invested something in that. I helped the person out instead of bypassing it. I helped the person to improve the quality. That required some kind of investment in my side, either time, money, or whatever it is. So this way, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to reduce the chances of risk. So consequences may not be, but probability I'm trying to reduce here, so that the probability of a like wrong part is less. That is a mitigation. I take steps to reduce the probability or consequences. I can take some steps to reduce so that the total impact become less. That also possible. Now, once your mitigation plan is not successful, then contingency come into picture. Or mitigation has reduced it but not eliminated it. Therefore, some contingency is required anyway, but it will reduce the amount of the contingency. What is accept? What is accept?
Sometimes accept it. We ready to face the consequences and the threats.
Exactly. We don't have anything to do. Neither we can avoid, nor we can transfer, nor we can mitigate. We have accepted it. If it is materialized, I will compensate the loss from the contingency amount. So I will allocate a contingency to handle the situation if the risk actually materialize. So no action means accept, but I need to put some kitty to manage the situation if the risk materialize. Similarly, there are strategies for positive risk. The exploit is similar to avoid. In avoid, I was trying to bypass it, and now what I'm doing, I'm trying to walk that path. Though it is difficult to walk that path, there is an opportunity on that path, so I'm trying to go through that path only. Taking that step only in the project, which will help me to feed into the opportunities and crystallize it. The share is equivalent to transfer. What is share? I see an opportunity. I don't have any capabilities. I ask my friend or my colleague or somebody who I know to step in and take the advantage of the opportunity and pick up the opportunity. Maybe if he gets some opportunity, he will let me know, right? So that is share. Enhance. I saw an opportunity. I see that this customer is not so sure. I went back. I prepared a small prototype and showed it to the customer. Customer liked it and give me the work. So I enhanced the probability of opportunities to materialize. What is accept? Nothing. I cannot even exploit it. I don't have any friend who can share in this or who have some skills in this area. I neither can enhance it. I say let it be like that. I don't want to take any steps on that. But whenever you do this, you must see that how much you are going to reduce the impact and probability of the risk, and then appropriately put the contingency response. So, but this is a contingent response. Okay, so there is a contingent response. Response means a response after the response. If that is a fallback plan, you can say. If a specific situation is there, I am going to address it that way. Kind of fox for the fallback plan, then my main strategy is not working out. Similarly, contingency amount also work in the similar way. When the risk materializes, I will compensate the loss by contingency amount. Reserve analysis is very important. I said the contingency reserve, management reserves, we discussed them about during the cost management and the time management as well. And we have to continuously watch the contingency reserve or contingency amount, how much is left in the contingency, and is this enough for managing the risk which are there on the platter. So output is update the risk register. Besides this, because this is a response plan, it may lead to the change in the schedule. It may lead to the change in the cost planning, quality planning, procurement, human resource, and scope baseline. The baseline can also change. So because it's an action, it's a response plan, the plan. So it is an action. So it's a list of action that may be required some update in the schedule, cost, quality, procurement, or any other plan as such. But they are broadly normally get impacted. You update the risk register. What is controlling the risk? Controlling is risk nothing but doing this again and again. Tracking an identified risk, monitoring residual risk, the risk which are left over, identifying new risk, right? Identifying new risk, the risk which are expired, means they see the risk was related to the requirements, and now a requirement phase is closed, I am in design phase, so that risk is retired or expired. So removing those risks from the plan, updating or enhancing or optimizing the response plans or changing it based on the change situation, evaluating the risk effectiveness, if the, or not risk process effectiveness, but also the risk action effectiveness, the actions we have planned, if those actions are really working. So I have to mitigate if that mitigation really working. Verifying if the assumptions which we have made in the beginning are really are true, or if there is a risk attached to it, and continuously watching the contingency or the management reserve, how much is left over, is that is sufficient or that is appropriate for the managing the risk. So we do risk assessment, risk audits, do some variance analysis based like in any control risk. So we get some performance data, how we are doing with respect to risk, and if because of this some risk is some change in the risk plan. So we do risk reassessment. The risk performance reports are variance analysis, earned value data, other reports for the performance. We do risk reassessment, basically means whatever the risk we have identified, because the situation is changed now in the project, it may be reassessed and the plan should be changed. We do the risk audit looking at the how effective the risk process is going on, if it requires any change. Doing the variance and trend analysis, how much is we have varied from our original plan and what is the trend, if the risk profiling of the project is increasing, decreasing, or it is getting deviated from the baseline, or it is significantly deviating, or does it require an action or not, something like that. So risk audit normally help us to understand the process is effective or not. The output is the work performance, the variance, actual plan versus actual. A change request means a recommended corrective or preventive measure. Let's complete the risk management. Any question? Any question?
In the, I think a lot of calculations are involved. That is in the EVM, right?
Lot of
calculations are involved in this.
Not much calculations. Let's see what is the calculation. We're just trying to. Is it arithmetic actually?
EMB only.
In EMB also it is plus minus multiplication division. There is nothing more than that.
Okay.
It's a very simple calculation everywhere. It's a very simple arithmetic, and whatever the calculations are there requires very simple arithmetic. No scientific. Wherever it is, you forget about it. It's not going to come in the exam altogether. Or exam or
Okay.
in the project also, most of the calculations are very simple. The complex calculations are in scheduling only, for which you have to use the tool, the MS project or something like that. Because the scheduling calculations are very complex.
Yeah, backward, forward type.
You cannot do scheduling without a tool. Okay, so let's do the questions of risk management. Okay, so let's do these questions of risk management. Once done, please write it down in the chat box and we will review those questions. Okay, so let's get started. What about question number 1? Fantastic. Question number 2. Good. Question number 3. Okay. You have a lot of symmetry actually. All because either all are wrong or all are right. I don't know if you're offlining, you're exchanging some ideas with each other.
No way.
No way, right?
There are questions you'll find maybe it's a consensus, but there are a lot of questions down the line which require a discussion.
Yes. Okay. So what is workaround actually?
It's an alternative way of doing things. So it's a response to a risk.
Yes. So when we need alternative?
When the process does not solve the purpose, then we need an alternative process.
Right. So workaround is something where your planned item is not working. Isn't it? You go with some plan, you find something, the situation is different, and you started looking for some alternatives. And those alternatives are called workaround. Workarounds, the main thing is that workarounds are not planned. Otherwise, they are called alternative plans, options. By definition, the workarounds are not planned. Isn't it? And
So
because
then it cannot be part of plan risk.
yes, so they are not planned, they cannot be in the planning time.
If it is in planning, then there should not be workaround. Workaround itself
It cannot be called
is
workaround.
contradictory.
Yes. So it has to be control risk. D.
Oh, the part of control risk.
See, the
Oh,
first
because
A,
you
B,
do
C
not
are
have
planning
anything.
activities. A, B, C are
Correct.
planning activities.
Definitely not A and B. Now C, D, because you cannot plan here. That's the reason plan didn't work. You are doing workaround. So you're controlling.
In control.
Okay.
During control, you find out your planned response is not working out. You identify alternatives. That is called workaround. And that is only possible during control.
So while working, you got something, it's not working out as per plan. Now throw something, how we can manage this.
Right. What about question number 4? All A. Okay, let's read this question. A project manager has called project team for risk identification. So we are in the risk identification. They analyzed assumptions, constraints, validated the quality of the data, and identified risk on the project. What is the process? We are identifying the risk. They determined risk trigger and rated the risk on a risk rating matrix. So some qualitative analysis. What did the project manager forgot? Mitigation is a response plan. We haven't reached there. We have identified the risk, and the second sentence says it is qualitative analysis. We haven't reached to a stage where we can plan for mitigation. We're talking about either it is in qualitative analysis or in risk identification. So mitigation planning is a risk response. Overall risk ranking of the project, that is the outcome of the risk qualitative analysis. So this is not yet happened. So this is what the outcome right now. What he's talking, what they forgot, means in the past what they forgot. So B is not applicable. Involvement of other stakeholders, possibly. Inform to the senior management. There is nothing here to inform to the senior management, right? So only thing where left is the involvement, because the involvement of stakeholders required at the identification.
So it is C.
Yes.
But while he has done all the assumption, he could have done involvement of stakeholder very beginning itself. No, because the mitigation won't work. Risk ranking, but after doing the all the qualitative analysis, he will do for the risk ranking. So isn't B or not?
Okay. See, he is talking about what he forgot, what the project manager forgot. That means something related to something. See, B is an outcome of risk rank of the qualitative analysis, not the process of risk analysis.
Then after that he will do the risk ranking.
No, he has done. They determined the risk trigger and rated the risk on risk rating matrix, which is qualitative analysis. This is qualitative analysis, right? This is qualitative analysis. So, and this is outcome of it. So it is post it. It is not pre it. Therefore, B is not applicable. Now, involvement of stakeholders required in the identification. So only this thing can be, he might forget. Other things are not just possible. There is nothing to inform to the senior management because nothing has happened as of now. Great thing to inform. Mitigation plan will happen in response plan. Overall risk ranking will happen after this. Therefore, only stakeholder involvement is the only thing which is left, which could be possible during identification, but project manager forgot. Make sense?
Still, such kind of questions have to be thought properly.
Yeah, see, the thing is that we have to see which process was before and which process is after. So A is after it, B is an outcome of the second process which he is talking about. So outcome cannot come before. Outcome can only come after. So he's talking forgot means risk ranking some process in the process. So this overall risk ranking of the project is not the process, it's the outcome of it. Informing the senior management is not in the context because there is nothing as such has happened which need to be informed to the senior management. There is nothing mentioned in the question which need to be informed to the stakeholders.
D is absolutely, there's no chance.
Yeah. So only the confusion between B and C, and B, therefore B is not because B will just outcome of this. B is an outcome of this process. So means it cannot be before that. What about question number 5? C. Okay. That's good. Let's go to question number 6. B, B and C. Okay. During risk monitoring and control, a new risk is discovered. This risk can potentially affect the project delivery. What should be the next step? Okay, see it's a new risk which is identified. Therefore, first we need to qualify the risk if it really makes sense. Why we are not going to work around? Because work around not happens when a risk is identified. Workarounds happen when a response plan fails or doesn't work out.
Okay, first qualify, then go for the plan.
Qualify the plan because a new risk is identified. We have to use the same route.
Okay.
Workarounds are identified when response plan fails. Make sense? What about 7? What about question number 8? Great. What about question number 9? A. What about question number 10?
Can you scroll this
Yeah, 1 minute.
up?
Yes. All A. 10. Okay. What about question number 11? All B. What about question number 12? All A. Very good. Question number 13. D, D, and C. Okay. All of the following are true with respect to expected monetary value, except first is C, D, and C. Okay. So what is C? It calculates value of various future scenario to select the best option. It cannot be used with decision tree. In fact, in our example, we used EMV with the decision tree, isn't it? We calculated EMV of every node.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
While it's actually EMV is all about like future, looking at the future scenario and choosing the best option.
correct.
What about
The fourth one is false.
14? What in C, right? It is transfer, it's for the risk, negative risk, not the positive risk opportunities. What about question number 15? What happened? It is B, all B, right? Great. So this is for today. I think we have not left enough time to go anywhere else except to answer some specific questions if you have, or general questions if you have. Tomorrow we will cover procurement management and the professional responsibility. Okay, and for that I will send you the code of conduct, the PMI's code of professional conduct. I will suggest you to please read this thoroughly, because the professional conduct is mainly about following the PMI's code of professional conduct, and the questions will be based on that. So I will email you this PMI's code of professional conduct, and you read it and then come back tomorrow. We will first take up the procurement management, then will professional things, and then something at the time of like closing this. We are almost close to closer actually of this workshop. So I will share you some other things, like what are the references for further studies, what are the like some formulas which are consolidated one place. Those couple of those things I will share with you as sending through the documents in a particular zip file also. But I will brief you about all those things before I share with you. And today itself you will get an email getting for the access of the virtual learning center, our virtual learning center, where you can practice the question and answers, and where you need to do the 4-hour full length exam also. In the email it will be explained how you can do that. So what I will do tomorrow, our all chapters, everything will be closed. The only thing will be left over after that will be the exam, the full length exam, which is very much part of this curriculum. Now what you need to do after tomorrow, it will be from today itself, it will be accessible to you. Now I will suggest you to attempt only after tomorrow, but you can check this out that if you are able to access this properly, and there is no problem with that, so that if there is some problem we can resolve it tomorrow. After that, from tomorrow's session onwards, you have the freedom to take out 4 hours anytime and attempt this question, attempt this exam, full length exam. I will guide you tomorrow that how you can do that, and complete this before next Sunday, because I think Amitabh looking for completing this on Sunday. So I will say for everyone to complete this before Sunday. As such, I'm not required to attempt this exam. So the 7th, which I have kept, especially the 7th March, I especially kept for doing this exam, because earlier iterations what happens that many times people didn't attempt it and we need to chase them. I do not want to do that. So if you are not able, if you are seeing anything there, please reserve 4 hours on next 7th March your time, what is the regular time, and attempt this. If you can attempt this before that, great. If it is just not possible, please complete this by Sunday, that is on 8th March. And once you complete this, we will send out your certificates for attending this training, and after that we will also guide you what is the further study. I will also give you some plan to how to prepare for the exam, and if you face any problem, you can always reach out to me anytime. You can drop me emails, you can call me, and whatever the support you need, I will try my best to support you fully to go through your exam. Or if you face any problem in claiming your PDUs, etc., please let me know. I will be happy to help you out. If you have any general question, anything, you can ask now or we will ask tomorrow.
So, so are you sharing the result for this exam as well?
Oh, that will be available to you as soon as you submit it.
Okay, okay. We can see the result.
See the results, yes.
Okay. So if there is some major questions which we see the conflict, so can we discuss? We have that time?
Yes, we can discuss, of course. First of all, when you submit it, you can see the answers of those questions. Plus, you can also see the explanation. The explanations are also given. So, but if you just in case you are not satisfied with the explanation or that is not so clear to you, you can always reach out to me. We can always discuss.
Okay. No, for me, it's not from the exam perspective, but definitely when I've gone through this all session, definitely I want to participate in exam.
Yeah, I know.
And let's see where am I.
It will be good actually. You will find it quite good to go through this. This is also an experience in itself actually. Though I know you don't need it actually.
Yeah, that's right. I don't need it, but still, what will happen? Till now, I was not able to read the complete PM box.
Okay.
So I had the plan to finish it once. So I'll try to finish it this week.
Very good.
And means not fully. I have done almost a partial, especially with the version 5.
Okay.
So I've only addition. I think stakeholder will be the new addition is there. But most of the thing is same as PM box 4.
Right, most of some terminology, some here and there things change, but major basic concept is all same.
So I'll try to read this so that it will help me to, because lot of things which is basically from the PM box.
Yes.
So if you not remember that part, the concept wise fine. So we have done a lot of questions very well.
Right.
But that it increase the probability of getting good marks.
Right. Right.
Are we required to read anything apart from the handouts that are provided?
You can refer anything as such. For this exam, this is a part of the curriculum, okay, of this thing. So your 35 hours complete only when you give the exam. Okay. So for this thing, I don't think you need to study anything else except we have covered in this. If you have PM box, I will advise you to read the PM box. I will advise you to please revise at least the slides. The handouts are there. At least revise through the handouts before you give the exam, because it's a full month kind of thing. So first session, second sessions, you may be having that much, not be that much fresh. But right now, if you like in this week, if you can revise those things, they will come as a fresh things to in your mind, and it will be much easier to attempt the questions in the exam.
So okay. Vivek, you mean to say for exam this material is sufficient?
For our exam, this.
For our exam,
yeah,
because
we are not looking for that it is basically you attempt and see that where you stand, not to pass or fail.
Okay, got
the purpose is not to pass or fail, or you see you pass or not you fail. The purpose is to you see that where you stand, so that you can really, when you start planning for the PMP exam, you know, here I am stand, here I have to focus, and to focus on that, your study will be more effective.
Correct. So actually we will understand what is the gap.
Right. You understand the gap actually, so that it is easier to fill it. That is the purpose.
Understood.
Okay. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow, the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.